Okay, let's see if this works. Hang on. Okay, let's see if this works. Hello there, people. Can anyone hear me? Hi. To be honest, where are all the people? Oh yeah, right. I forgot. Oh yeah, the MTH312 has a midterm. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So best of luck to all of us, I guess. Right then, I'm still gonna post this tutorial online, so they can watch it later, or maybe they can like hop on in later for questions and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna still proceed with the tutorial anyway, because why not? I want to keep the weekly schedule consistent. So, let's begin, shall we? Okay, let's see if I can get back to PowerPoint. Alright, and I'm gonna open up the presenter mode as well. Alright, let's do this. So, last week we covered stuff like how to make our very first class and uh, how we can get to learn Java a bit by doing some really new exercises and all that. And this time, what we're gonna cover is what probably my section did in week 3, which is talking about maybe a small anatomy of what a class looks like, some stuff about the data types and variables in Java, and the main focus we're gonna have for this tutorial would be operators, conditional statements, loops, and constructors, and that's pretty much what we have in week 3. Yours can be different, but this is what I will cover this week. Alright, so the very first thing I would like to talk about would be a brief review of what we did last week. So we have a class, maybe for example a name tag. Let's see if I can find a laser pointer. There you go, beautiful. So we have a name tag, and inside this name tag class, first we have a hang on. Okay. Um, Oh, right. It's a laser pointer. So of course I cannot advance. All right. So we have a class declaration, and the class declaration which pretty much mentions the name of the class. Nice and simple. We also have a state variable. For example, name is a state variable, which is one of the properties of a name tag. And also we have a constructor. This is what we will focus on tonight as one of our focuses for this tutorial. And also we have methods, which we actually kind of covered last week through the live demo. That's about it for what we did last week. Just an introduction to Java and getting everyone acquainted to it. So another thing I would like to review very briefly would be data types and variables. So about data types and variables in Java, every variable in Java belongs to a type. This is a little bit similar to C. Actually, it's not a little bit. This is exactly similar to C, because in C, we also need to assign every variable a data type. So nothing new here. The primitive types are the ones that make up the other ones. So the primitive types we're talking about in Java are bytes, shorts, integers, longs. These are for whole numbers, or you know, just numbers that do not have decimals after them. And then we have those that can support fractional values. Those are floating point numbers, or floats, and double floating point numbers. They are called doubles because, you know, they are double the size of a float. We also have booleans, which is true or false. We work with a lot of this in COE 328, so I'm sure everyone has gotten used to this stuff. We also have the character. In our case, we work with a lot of ASCII characters, and we represent a character with char. We also have complex types, which are which pretty much refer to a lot of times classes and maybe data structures too. Um, Data structures as in like structs in C, kind of. So these complex types are made of the primitive ones. So we have state variables that can maybe be complex types and primitive types. So complex types are pretty much just classes and like stuff that's not primitive. So variables of complex types usually contain references to other objects. Um, pretty much that's what I want to say here. Um, a lot of times we have seen variables a lot when programming or developing software. We see them appear as parameters of functions. Variables that only appear in certain methods, we call them local variables because they're local to the method itself. That is actually used in C a lot as well. We also have instance variables that belong to an object that stores them. So the difference between local variables is that to use a local variable, you need to initialize it first. So you have to assign it a value. Instance variables, however, those that belong to classes and structures, maybe. I think it's classes for now. Instance variables in classes, however, are initialized when the objects they belong to are created. So, in other words, they do have defaults. If you define those variables in a class. So this includes 0 for any numeric type. So floats, integers, anything. The null terminator, I'm sure you've seen these at the end of strings in C. We're using this same character for as a default character value if we do not assign it anything. We also have false for booleans. I mean, it kind of makes sense because false means 0 as an integer. And finally, we initialize any complex data type variables with null. Null means nothing, okay? Yeah, that's about it. So that's about it for variables and data types. Any questions here so far? Let's see if I can show the taskbar. Where's the taskbar? Oh well. Okay. So nothing so far? Do let me know, even if you have no questions. No? Okay. So I'm gonna move on now, okay? Right. Let's move on. Going back here. Apparently that was a small waste of time. Alright. Alright, so operators. We've seen a lot of these in C already, but I'm gonna go through them very quickly. So, as you can see, arithmetic operators in Java are pretty much identical to C. And yeah, you have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo as well. You can also assign stuff. You can assign values to variables. And how you do it is just use the equal sign. You can also do stuff to variables before assigning them the new value. For example, we can add a variable by something, then assign it as a new value. So at plus equals, we've seen this a lot. Maybe in C we have seen it before, but if you haven't, it's just a way of saying if I have a plus equals 2, then this is identical to saying a is equal to a plus 2. So we grab the original value of a, and then we add 2 to it, and then that would be the new value of a. So if a is 1, then a plus equals 2 will make a equal to 3. So similar things happen for subtraction, multiplication, and division, and modulo for remainder stuff. You will see modulo a lot in number theory. So I'm not sure if we're going to take that though. Um, another set of operators we've seen before maybe is plus plus and minus minus. We use that a lot in for loops, so there's no surprise there. So plus plus means add by ones. Minus minus means subtract by one. So one thing you need to be careful as usual is the difference between prefix and postfix operators, or how should I say it? The prefix and postfix formats. Basically, where you put your variable really matters. So x plus plus, for example, you put the x before the plus plus. This means you return the original value of x, then you add it by 1. However, if you put, that is actually, before I move on, x plus plus is kind of a prefix format of using plus plus. But what if you use it as a post? What if you use the postfix format? Then you first add x by 1, then you return the new value. So there's a difference. The order that you return x and you add x by 1 is different. The same thing applies to minus minus, which subtracts by 1. Okay, any questions so far? All right, I'm gonna keep going then. All right, this is no surprise. This is CPS 125 again. Yeah. If you're new, welcome, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I understand there's a midterm on Friday, so good luck to all of us, I guess. All right, logical and conditional operators. So these are also very important because we use them a lot. Just like C, we have the and, or, and not. These three are the primitive operations in COE 328. So no surprise, except for the symbols. We have double ampersand for and, 2 vertical bars for or, and an exclamation mark for not. We also have conditional operators where we make a lot of comparisons. We have larger than and less than. These two are in math, we call them strictly greater and strictly less. Okay. So if you have like if you have something like A is larger than B, which means we're trying to make sure that A is bigger than B. All right. Simple math here. We also have larger than or equal to, and less than or equal to. Those two are just adding the equal sign to the strictly larger and less than operators. So again, this is like CPS 125 stuff, no surprise. The equals to and not equals to, they are also mentioned in CPS 125. So they are still the same here in Java. So we use 2 equals for equal to if we are making if statements. Because, you know, the assignment operator already owns the single equal sign. We also have not equal to, which uses the not operator combined with the equal to make sure that the opposite of equal to is true. We also use that a lot. For example, not equals null means something exists. Alright, moving on. We have also string concatenation. I think in C we don't really do that because C, we have a very complex way of doing this stuff. I do not wish to remember it. However, in Java, things are easier. Instead of just using lots of methods to, you know, I don't know, expand your memory and like write stuff to specific parts of the memory to just put 2 strings together, we just use the plus operator. Very convenient, am I right? So, so we are going to use plus to combine strings and variables together. And one thing to note is that if you are combining a numeric variable with a string, that numeric variable will convert into a string. How should I say it? A lot of times I just I think it works if you have the string first and then you have a numeric variable after. But if like the reverse is also true, then like that's nice as well. But normally we a lot of times we just put the string first and then we display some numbers later. So yeah, do take notes of that. So we have an example where if we have apples concatenating with the number 5, then we have apples 5. That's it. Yeah, nothing. It's not. It's kind of a surprise maybe for some of you, but this is useful and it's very convenient and I love it. All right. Now, here comes the main focus of today's tutorial, and that would be conditional statements and loops. Let me go ahead and open my presenter views. Okay, so conditional statements and loops in Java are very similar to those in C. If you want to, you can look back on your on this course's lecture notes coming from your professors to refresh those concepts in your head. But I will still go through them, and we will also do a few examples of this. We will also have a live demo of a very fun program we're gonna make. That is, it depends on your definition of fun. All right. First, we have conditional statements. So if statements, as I call them. So we have the basic if statement that takes in a condition, and you have a code block that contains all the stuff you can do if this particular condition is fulfilled. So in other words, if something happens, you do some stuff. And we also have this if else statement. So else means if the condition is not fulfilled. So if we have some stuff, oh my goodness, why did I say that? All right, if something happens, maybe a condition is fulfilled, we do some stuff. Otherwise, we do something else. All right, we also have this. This one's even, how should I say it? We also have else if. So if a condition is not fulfilled, then we move on to the second one. If the second one is fulfilled instead, we will run the code inside the else if statement. So in other words, if something happens, you first do stuff. If something else happens, you do different stuff. If all else fails, just do other stuff. So you can see that I actually put some parts of the text in italics. They do refer to the comments in this sample code here. So for example, this is what we did like just last week. Particularly, I'm sure everyone knows this already, but we have this if statement that compares x to 15. If x is smaller than 15, we have our dog bark 8 times. All right. So let me go ahead and this is pretty much the question I asked like last week, so I'm not going to go through it too much. Will this bark even run? No, because x by the time we reach the if statements is 22. How did I know this? Because x is assigned as 27 minus 5, size being 27, and 27 minus 5 is 22. So we have 22 as our x. So since 22 is greater than 15, this condition is false. All right, let's have some of our own examples to work with. So take your time to compute this and tell me what will be the output, assuming the snippet comes from the main function. All right. If you have an answer, just tell me right away. Correct. Good job, good job. So I'm sure you know how to do this already. The answer is just a plain old nice. How? Well, if you compute C is A times B plus A plus B. So first I would evaluate A plus B, which is equal to 1 plus 4, which is 5. And then I will also evaluate the multiplication next. So a times b is 4 in our case. So finally, we add those two numbers together. 4 plus 5 is 9. Since 9 is greater than 7, we're going to take the first path, which is right here. We print out nice. Good job. This is very easy, I know. But again, this is CPS 125 in a nutshell, so nothing new here. Another thing that we rarely go through would be the conditional operator. What this looks like is we have a condition, and then we have a question mark. Then behind the question mark is the value we're gonna use if the condition is true. And then afterwards we have a colon, not a semicolon, a colon. And then we will also have the default value if we have if the condition is false. Okay. So this is a way of saying if some condition happens, then we assign a variable equal to this return if true. Else, and then we add an else statement. Then inside the else block, we're gonna have the we're gonna have the same variable equal to the return if false value. Okay. So here's how the saying goes. All right, I've already explained that to you. Okay, so here's an example. Can anyone tell me what's the output is going to be for this one? Just as a small practice. Correct. Good job. I'm sure you know why already. Because 3 is bigger than 2, we're going to take the first option because we have fulfilled the condition. Alright. So, another thing we have is switch statements. The reason why I put that in the conditional statements section is because, well, this is kind of like a conditional statements, but a bit different. So, this statements can get really confusing for some of you. In CPS 125, we've seen this before, but it is confusing. Trust me. So, first we check the value of the variable var. Then, we're gonna look at the cases and see which one we're supposed to jump into. So, what do I mean? Well, we're gonna look at the case that has the value matching the one in the variable. For example, if var is 1, we're gonna jump into case 1 because we have 1 being precisely the value of our variable. Now, just to let you know, you have to be careful when you interpret the switch statements because, for example, look at case 3. It's missing a break, right? What this means is that we do the third thing, then we jump into what's below the fourth thing. Okay? We jump into what's inside case 4 here. So after I run case 3, I'm gonna also run case 4, or keep running down the list until we hit another break. Okay? So remember to put breaks if you don't want the program to run stuff that it's not supposed to run. Another thing you should see is the default. Let me draw this more properly. Another thing you should see is the default part of the switch statement, which is which basically runs if neither of the cases match what we have in var. So if we have var equal to a negative number, for example, it's gonna just run the default. Okay? So any questions there? We're gonna do an example in the next slide. No? It's CPS 125, so again, not big surprise, but still confusing to this day. Alright. Also, if you have like any last minute questions near the end, yep, I will be available for questions tonight. Alright. So switch statements. So for example, I'm going to look at I'm gonna show you this example. You don't need to answer. What will be printed in the console? Well, we have this stuff, which is, what's the time? Okay. So we have pretty much enter step 2 as the output. The reason being that var right now is 2 right here. So we look at var, which is 2, and we look for a case that has the value 2 in it. In this case, it's the one in the red box. So we're gonna run starting from where case 2 is. In our case, we're just gonna print out enter step 2. And then since we hit a break, we're going to stop there. Okay? Yep, that's it. Alright. Okay. Another thing is, what happens if var is 3? Okay, this is where you come in. What will be printed instead? Correct. Good job. Again, this is CPS 125, so nothing new. It's gonna print out enter step 3 and then enter step 4, and then we're gonna break. So remember that if you don't put a break, it's gonna keep running down the list until it hits a break or until it hits the end of the switch statement. So be really careful when using this. Alright, let's move on. So let's head to loops now. We have a while loop. This is CPS 125. I'm gonna breeze through this stuff. So we have the while loop and for loop returning to Java. So this is nothing new if you have taken CPS 125 before. But if you are new, then we first have the while loop, which is very simple. As long as the condition is fulfilled, we're gonna keep running. Okay? And this condition will be checked every time we reach the end of the looping block. Okay? For the for loop. So for loops, a lot of times we just start a counter, and then we're gonna give the counter and condition to work with. And we also are gonna change the counter every time we reach the end of the for block. Okay? So how I interpret it is like saying we start a counter. For example, we have I as an integer. Okay, I equals to 0. Okay, and then I want to keep running as long as I is smaller than 10. Okay, and how I'm gonna change the I after each loop is I'm going to add by 1. Okay. So in that case, I is gonna count from 0 to 9, and then when it reaches 10, we're gonna break off the loop because the condition is false, would be false by then. Okay, so we start a counter, so that's the first step, and then we check for its condition, and then we run whatever's inside the for loop, and then we change it, and then we're gonna go back to checking and see if we can run it again. Okay? Any questions there? Going once, twice, and yeah, just ask me at the end of the tutorial if you still have something to tell me. All right. Another thing we also have, which is do while. So what do while does is it's gonna run the do stuff first before it checks for the condition. And one thing to note, I want to tell you, is to not forget the semicolon for do while, okay? Has anyone actually messed up and like forgot the semicolon for this one? Like, you can tell me, and there's no shaming though, because, you know, everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, trust me, I relate. Yeah, so do while. This is a special case where you actually have to add a semicolon. Because we are not ending the statements with a block, we're ending it with a bracket, and a condition. Okay? Yep, that's about it. So how you can interpret this is you do stuff first, then you repeat as long as something still happens. Okay? Alright, okay. So here's a while loop example. So what would be the output if this comes from a main function? So I'll let you all take your time for this one. Oh, and yes, if you want to use a calculator, go ahead. Yes, that's correct. And that is correct. And that is 3,628,800. So that's otherwise known as 10 factorial. And the reason is maybe you could draw a table or something. But how I would say is at a equals 10, that's when the loop starts. We're going to multiply x by 10. So x will become 10 because we start x with 1. Then a is going to decrease by 1. Alright, we're going to repeat the same process for a equals 9, and then 8, and then 7, and all the way down to when a is 0, that's when the condition is false. We're not going to multiply by 0, of course, because the checking comes after a equals, after like a equals 1, and then it gets decreased. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so in other words, just keep do the process in your head, and you will get that x will just be multiplied by 10, then 9, then 8, and all the way down to 1, which will basically equal to 10 factorial. Okay? Yep, good job. Now, here's another thing. We have a for loop example here as well. The thing is, if you do this in your head as well, you'll also get 10 factorial. Why? Because this for loop, we start at 10 and we initialize the counter first. Then we check for the condition. In our case, yes, we're gonna run this. We're gonna multiply x by a, and then we're gonna decrease the a by 1. This looks very, very familiar because if you go back to the last slide, we have a starting at 10, and then a, we want to check if a is larger than 0, and then we multiply x by a, and then we decrease a by 1. This is basically the exact same thing, but using a for loop this time around. So what would be the output? Well, still 10 factorial, because the for loop is actually the equivalent of the while loop in the previous slide. Pretty cool, eh? Alright. Yep, so that is the for loop example. So you can see that you can kind of derive the for loop from a while loop. Both loops have their own uses as well. Okay? Alright, let's move on now. Feel free to interrupt if you have a question, by the way. Alright, let's do another one. This time we're going to work with booleans and a do while loop. So, how many times will the console print apples? Feel free to answer this one if you know. Correct. Good job. Yep, it's infinite. The reason why is if you evaluate the condition here, so x2 is false, so I'm going to put it at 0. And then x1 is true, I'm going to give it a 1. x3 is false, but since we're taking its complement, this goes to 1. So so first we evaluate the end, which is 1, and we're gonna do an OR operation between 0 and 1. So 0 or 1 is 1. So pretty much this will always be true. So that's why we're gonna print infinite apples. Apples for years, am I right? All right. Now, how about now? Oh, hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. I found a mistake here. This is not supposed to happen. Alright, let's try that again. How about now? Can anyone tell me what's the output's gonna be? Correct. It's only gonna print apples once. Because this is a do while loop, not a while loop. First you do the printing, then you check the condition. Since the condition is false, then we're just gonna jump out after we print apples once. That's it. Now, we also can like put nested ifs and nested loops as well. This is an example of this, and yeah. What I'm saying is, if you have something like an if right here, and you have like whatever condition you have here, and I'm gonna open up a code block, you can also have another if statement right inside the if, which also needs another condition, and then you can also do stuff here. Okay? Alright. So any questions here? Oh, by the way, you can have as many, the depth of these nests can be as many as like, you can make the nests as deep as possible, like as deep as you want. But if you do too much of this stuff, I can tell you that some people will not be impressed on your implementation. Like, there are different ways to implement solutions that don't involve like code that looks like a rocket. All right, but if you have to, well, yeah, you can like make the nest as deep as you want. All right, let's move on now. So, here's an example. Go ahead and start thinking here. Because the trick is y. This time, I'm going to change y by adding it by 2 every time. Alright, can anyone tell me how many times hi is going to print? Yes, that's correct. So the reason why is we start at 0 and we count up to 9. That would be like the valid numbers for the condition to be true. So in that case, since we are counting 10 times before we exit, this outer for loop is gonna run 10 times. Okay. Let me go ahead and get an eraser. I want to draw the 0 a little bit better. Alright, so we have this 10 times. Okay. However, what this means is that this for loop is gonna run 10 times. And every time we're gonna print hi 15 times, because this is like saying 30 divided by 2. You know, we count up to about 30 by like skipping, how should I say it? We just keep adding by 2. So we keep counting like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Okay? So that's a total of 15 numbers that will fulfill the condition. So we have 10 times 15, which is 150 times. Good job. Alright, let's move on now. So, Now that we got ourselves acquainted with loops and stuff, let's have a fun, let's sing a fun little song called 99 Bottles. Has anyone heard of this song before? Not really? Alright. This is actually a legit children's song. But, yeah, since, like, alcoholism is really bad, we just changed the beer to milk. So you can insert any beverage here. So the lyrics are gonna be like, something like this. Not that I really forgot how to sing this. 99 bottles of milk on the wall, 99 bottles of milk. Take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles of milk on the wall. And then you're gonna keep on repeating for 98 and so on, all the way down to the last bottle. And then you're gonna sing no more bottles of milk on the wall when you pass the last bottle. Another restriction I would like to add is I'm going to, you're gonna have to use loops and conditional statements in your program. Maybe not conditional statements, but I don't want you to just print all 396 lines of lyrics in your program, because that's a waste of your own time. So, yeah, and also, there are multiple solutions, so you can implement this program your own way, alright? Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here, and hang on a moment. Oh, and what's going on here? Hang on. So I'm just answering someone's question. Someone cannot find the COE 318 session, so I'm just gonna send them the link to the ECE server, because that is where I always host my tutorials this time around. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go back now. So I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, I am already sharing my screen. Okay, neat. So everyone, please open up your Apache NetBeans. I'm gonna also take out my magnifier. Hang on a moment. There you go. Ah, yes, there you go. That's perfect. So if you want to see my stuff magnified, you should be able to see it if I zoom in like this. Okay. So yeah, hopefully you all can like understand me a bit more. So this time around, I am going to actually make a new project, and one thing to note is from now on, I will be using Java with Ant. Okay, if you don't have that, search online to see how you can install Ant into your IDE. So in our case, I'm going to use the class library as always, but I'm going to use Ant, which means if you see this teacup icon here, then you are set, okay? I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to change this to something else, so hang on a moment. Let's see if I can go back. I'm going to go to personal stuff, and I'm going to see... You know what? Hang on. That's 328. So you can choose any workspace you want. I'm just gonna use workspace here. Yeah, I forgot about this. Whoops. So I'm gonna call this tutorial 2. Hang on a moment. Okay, you know what? Hang on. Let me take a look at how I named it. Okay, so I'm gonna use all lowercase. Alright, so tutorial 2 is gonna be the name of my project. Okay. And then I'm going to click on finish. I'm gonna wait. Okay. So if you have initialized your project here, you should see it in the projects panel. And this time around, you can see that we have the big green button for running the project. So that's good. So that is what you should see, and that's what you should see in the lab as well. So that's what I used for my labs from now on. Alright, so now I'm gonna right click on source packages to make a new package. Like before, I'm gonna right click and then click on new, and then Java package. I'm gonna call this tutorial2 dot actually sure, I'm just gonna do that. Tutorial2 dot bottles. Okay, enter, and then you should see a package here. Okay, alright, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on new, and then I'm gonna make a Java main class because we don't need a class to do that. I'm just gonna say bottles song, and I'm going to click on finish. Alright, so right, so we're gonna code the entire we're gonna sing the entire song in the main function. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this to do statement here, and I'm gonna zoom in for you. Alright, so I'm gonna delete this. Come on. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this, and I'm going to start with making an integer called bottles left. Okay, and I'm gonna start with 99. Alright, and I will also make a string so that you can house the beverage. I'm gonna let that equal to milk. Okay, you can use anything you want. Okay, just as long as it's appropriate, because you know, maybe the kids are watching. So I have the beverage, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a while loop, because why not? That is one solution. You can also use a for loop if you want, and that's fine too. So I'm gonna say while bottles left is bigger than 0, which means as long as we still have some bottles left on the wall, hang on a moment. As long as we still have bottles left on the wall, we are going to, how should I say it? We're going to just repeat the verse. So I'm going to start writing, hang on, where is, come on. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna test out a few things. So I'm gonna start by adding the number, and then I'm gonna say, so number and add a space, and then something, and then bottles of, and then I'm gonna say beverage on the wall. Okay, so we have 99 bottles of milk on the wall, with bottles left and beverage replacing the 99 and milk. Okay, and then the next line is 99 bottles of milk and then full stop. So again, I'm gonna write bottles left, and then bottles of beverage. So your beverage can be your milk and whatever. Milk, pop, maybe beer, I don't know. 99 bottles of milk. Okay, nice. And then we're gonna say take one down, pass it around. So I'm gonna put that in one line. Let's see if that is what is intended. Yep, take one down and pass it around. Or take one down and then comma, pass it around. Take one down. Take one down and pass it around. And then, maybe that's just me, but I think since we are taking one down and passing it around, we're just going to decrease the bottles left by 1. So I'm just going to use bottles left minus minus, okay? Yeah, alright. So let me know, feel free to let me know if you want me to slow down or speed up. And then, what I'm going to do is, I'm also finally write bottles left. So the new bottles left would be that after it got subtracted by 1. And then I'm going to write this again. And with a full stop this time. Oh, and hang on. For the take one down and pass it around, I'm just gonna use a comma. Why not? And then I'm gonna save. And the thing is, one thing I would have to account for when I run this is you can see that we have 1 bottles of milk on the wall, and we also have 0 bottles of milk on the wall. So for 1 bottle, I would rather we have something like 1 bottle of milk on the wall. So let's add a bit more to our while loop. So let's do that. So instead of just saying bottles, I'm just gonna say bottle word. I'm gonna put that in a variable of the string type, and I'm gonna say bottle you know what, sure, let me try this again. So I'm going to first make sure that bottles left is equal to 1, and then I'm going to use a conditional operator to say bottle, and by default we're going to use bottles. Okay, so that's the bottle word returned using a conditional operator. So we've seen this before. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, instead of just writing bottles in a string, I'm going to also add one more to the mix, would be the bottle word. Okay? And then I'm going to copy the bottles up and paste it here. So same thing here. Okay. And finally, one more thing we have to do is we want to make sure that when we have no bottles, we're going to say no more bottles of milk on the wall. So I'm going to say if bottles left is equal to 0 with 2 equals, I'm going to say, I'm going to copy and paste this. And instead of just getting the bottles left, we're just going to say no more bottles of milk on the wall, okay? Milk being the beverage. So now I will also add myself an else to add the default when bottles left is larger than 0 as well, okay? Yep. Alright. Alright, so everyone with me so far? Oh, this is called, yeah, the conditional operator. Yeah. So, some people call it the tertiary operator because we have 3 sides of the operation. So, first you have your condition, okay? And if this condition returns true, we're gonna take the first option, which is right behind the question mark. And otherwise, we're gonna take the one behind the colon, okay? Yep, all good? Yup, that's it. That's it. Yup. So we have the condition, then the value to return if it is true, and then the value to return if it's false. Okay? So condition, return if true, return if false. So yeah, a conditional operator. Very, very important to maybe simplify your code a bit. No worries. All right, let's run the program now. So, yeah, look at that. If you want to, you can also print a you can print an empty line as well. I'm just gonna do that as well then. So, fun fact, if you just use print line with nothing in it, what it means is that you don't want to print anything, you're just printing an empty line. So, very useful for new line stuff to separate your things. Alright, there you go. This works. Yep, that's right, it's \n. Yep. \n. Oh. Yes, that there is a thing. There is such thing. Yeah, it works. Because, you know, Java is higher level than C, so you can see a lot of C stuff in there. Another thing I actually noticed is 1 bottles of milk still there because we are going from 2 to 1. Yeah, you know what? In that case, I'm gonna just be I'm just gonna do this for convenience. All I'll do is for bottle word, I will just run the conditional operator again to update it, okay? Since we have defined the variable already, we can just assign the same variable to a new value. Let me clear the console and run it. Okay. And if you supply the /n to the print line, the print line automatically gives the /n at the end. So you basically are printing 2 lines. You're printing 2 empty lines. I mean, sure, a vector separation, but if you don't want that, you can just delete the extra /n we supply inside. There you go. So now we have a lot of bottles in the wall. Look at that. And we have no more bottles of milk on the wall at the end. Yeah, so feel free to like have fun with this. I can scroll all the way up to 99 as well. And yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's your bottle song taken care of. Any questions here so far? Nope. Okay. So let me see if there's anything to go. All right. So people are. Okay. So yep. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next exercise now. Okay. So yeah. So that's the bottle song taken care of. Good job. And now now that we have taken care of hang on. So now that we have taken care of the conditional statements and all that stuff to get you all refreshed on the concepts, let's go diving into constructors, okay? So we have seen constructors before, but what exactly is it? A constructor is a very special method in the class that initializes an object. Basically, you're setting the values of the new object when a constructor is run. You can have as many constructors as you like, just like any other method. And if you have multiple methods of the same name, that's called overloading. How do you create a constructor though? Well, you should have the name of your constructor the same as the class's name. and it should have no return type. Okay, don't add a return type in a constructor. Okay, because that's not gonna work. And also, just like any other method, you can use any modifier you like. So here's an example. So we have some meat, all right? I'm hungry and I want some meat. So we have the meat class, and we have like our attributes, like instance or instance variables like name, and then I'm going to make a constructor called, well, meat, because that's the constructor, and I will require the name of the meat that you want to know. Okay. And another method I'm gonna use is eat, which will print out yummy and then the name of the meat. Okay. So when we create new objects using constructors, we need to use the new keyword. Okay, the new, new, to create new objects of a specific class. So make sure you supply enough parameters or arguments, just like how you call a method or function. Otherwise, guess who's gonna be very unhappy about how you write your code? The compiler. Now, once you create an object, you can reference this new object using the variable you stored it with, and then you add the dot to dive into the object. Just like this. We have the main class that references the meat class we made earlier, and we're gonna store this in the variable of the type meat. So we create the new meat called steak, and then I'm gonna eat the steak and say yummy steak. Well, that is pretty much what we have here. So we have yummy steak being printed right after we call the steak's eat function. Okay. Any questions here? Yeah, good luck on the math midterm to all of us. Alright, no worries. Goodbye. Alright. I'm gonna continue on now. So, another thing we covered is default constructors. So let me make sure that there are still people in there. Oh, there isn't any. Oh, well, that's fine. Another thing we have is default constructors. It is not really necessary to create constructors for every single class. Oftentimes we do, though. And if you don't make any constructors at all, and like you're in a specific class for that, the default constructor, which does not require parameters, will be used to create an instance of the class instead. So I'm going to correct myself here. Create an instance of the class instead. As soon as you explicitly define a constructor to the class, the default one is gone. So unless you add another constructor that does not require parameters, you're not going to see it. And the compiler will go mad at you. So here's the example. So we have a class called something, and I will call the something. I will make a new object of something in the main class. And what would be the output if we have if we run the code in the main class? Well, if you notice, then you should see 20. And the compiler will run well, because we don't have any constructor at all. There isn't any. We're gonna use the default constructor. So we're gonna make the new something object, and we're gonna set its a value to 20, and then we're gonna print it out. So we're gonna print out 20. Now, how about now? We explicitly defined a constructor, so be really careful here. Will the compiler run? And what would be the output? And if it doesn't compile, how do we fix the issue in the main function? The answer is no. You will not compile the program because no, there is no default constructor here. We have our only constructor requiring the parameter a to be supplied. So what I would do is I would supply just an integer for a. So I would add something like 8 or something. So then we could do stuff to it later. Okay? I'm gonna move on now. So yeah, now that we learned a bit about constructors, let's make a class called products that will help us practice some things about constructors. And you know, just get you all used to making classes. Follow along, okay? Make sure you follow along so you can like get the most out of the tutorial experience. Alright, let me exit my screen. And then I am going to open up my NetBeans again. So I will also open up my magnifier. And I'm gonna wait for this. Okay, so I'm going to now make a new package by right-clicking on the source packages and then go to new, and then I will make a new Java package to house our product. And I'm gonna call this tutorial2.product. Okay, I'm gonna finish. And then I'm gonna make a new class called product, and I'm going to finish. Okay, so you should see this new class created just for you. So let's start coding now. So that's our requirement. We need two properties, the name and the amount of stock. So let's have the name being called name, and I will use the private modifier because the state variable should not be modified in any weird way possible. And also, I will make another private instance variable called of the long type because that's a requirement called stock. Okay, so that's our state variables done. The next thing is I'm going to look at the constructors part. So this is where we apply what we learned about constructors here. We need one that requires two parameters, one for the name, one for the product, one for the stock, I mean. So let's do that. I will make a public constructor, and I will say public product. And I'm going to first supply the name, and then the stock as our two parameters. The thing is, however, that since we're using the identical names for our parameters as our instance variables, we're gonna introduce a new keyword here. We're gonna use this to reference our instance variables in the product class. Okay, this means the class we are in. In our case, it's product. So I will also write this dot stock is equal to stock. Now, if you don't see the how should I say this? If you don't see the this behind the name, what it means is that we are using the name as in the parameter name in the constructor. Okay. All right. There's more to do for our constructors, though. We have another one that requires no parameters, which initializes the product with the name mystery product and 100 stock. So let's do that. I'm going to make another public constructor called product. And I'm not going to add any parameters here. So here I'm just gonna use this dot name is equal to mystery product. Okay, and also this dot stock is equal to 100, just as described in our requirements. Okay. All right. So the next one is up to you. You're gonna have to like add only the getters and setters for the name only. Okay. All right, because well, we can I'm just gonna type this adding those methods for the stock is optional. Okay, so I'm gonna do both because why not? I want to demonstrate to you how I want to demonstrate to you that anyway. I'm gonna first start with the name by just using get name and no parameters here. I'm gonna return the name here, and in this case I'm gonna use this dot name. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the same for the setter. I'm just gonna say set name, and I will give it a new name, and I'm just gonna say this dot name equals name. We can use it. We can also like add a constraint of that being not an empty string, but that's okay. We're not gonna focus on that right now. All right. So I'm gonna do the same for the get stock and set stock functions. So I'm gonna return this dot stock here, and I will also set stock using the new number of stocks, the new stock number. Oh, and I'm not going to return anything. Nope. I'm just going to set the stock instance variable to the new stock. If you are really confused about the this keyword, look back on your lectures to make sure that you are familiar with it, okay? Because the this keyword appears a lot when we make software systems like this to differentiate between the parameters and the instance variables. We only use the this keyword for our instance variables, okay? Yeah, think of this as like the current object or the current class that we're in. Alright, so we have the getters and setters. So now I'm going to make some operations. In our case, I'm going to use take and restock, okay? So I'm going to type public. I'm going to not return anything because we are not supposed to return anything. Okay, we're only printing stuff. I'm going to supply num to take, and I'm gonna start implementing stuff here. So I'm going to say if the one thing I would like to tell you is that you cannot take more than the stock. So oh, hang on, where's my mouse? Okay, you cannot take more than the stock. So just make sure you know how much you can take. I'm gonna use a math function for this one, so bear with me. But math.min means you take the minimum between two numbers. Okay. I'm gonna store that in a variable. Long num taken is equal to I think this is the thing, right? Yeah, math.minimum, and I'm going to use num to take, and then this dot stock. Okay, I'm just gonna use the stock property in this one because we're in the class after all. Now we have, so basically we want to see which one is smaller, the stock or the number we're taking. So in that case, if we have not enough stock to take, then we're just gonna take all the stock. So I'm gonna then I'm gonna print out let's see. I'm gonna first say num taken, and then how should I say 13 products named. I'm not gonna actually do something like plural and singular, so that's why I just say 13 something products named something is taken. I'm just gonna write it like that, and let's see what we have left. If the okay, all right. So okay. So I'm going to before I print out the message, I will also make sure that the stock gets decreased as well using the minus equals operator, and I'm going to use the num taken as our variable. Okay. So I'm gonna go back. Hang on. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to let's see if there's anything else we need to do. Oh yeah, if the remaining stock is 0, we want to print a message saying the product is out of stock. Okay. So I'm going to say if this dot stock is equal to 0, we cannot have it be a negative number after all. I'm going to print a message saying this dot name. Oh, and I'm going to I forgot something here. This num taken part, the parts where we print how much we take, I will need to use the name as well, so I'm just gonna add the name here. Same thing here. I'm going to concatenate the string. So we have the name of the product is out of stock. Okay. All right. So now the next thing is we need to also make the restock method as well. So this will also be a void, and I'm going to write public void restock, and I'm going to name my parameter num2restock. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna do any like restrictions here because we can restock as many as we want. I'm just going to add the stock by num2restock. Okay. And then I'm going to say I'm going to like add this this exact same line here. We're gonna write num2restock. Oh, not stock, restock. Num2restock, product's name, the name of the product. I'm just adding the is and are just so that I think the grammar makes sense here. I'm going to say just say this taken. Or if you want to, you can say like this dot name is has like the number restocked. I'm just gonna say num2restock products names. This dot name is our restocked. Okay. And that's about it. I'm going to test out our hang on. I'm gonna test out our products tester class as well. So that we can like test out the products class. So you can do this as many times as you want in your own time. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do both cases only once. So I'm gonna get my magnifier ready. And I'm going to make a new main class in the product package. And I'm gonna call it product tester. And I'm going to finish. Alright, I'm going to code my application logic here. So the first thing is I'm going to add a product called apple juice. And I'm gonna set that to a new product of apple juice. Okay. And oh, what happened here? Is it just oh, what happened? What is this? What's going on? Oh, hang on. What? Oh yeah, we also need to give it a stock as well. So let's do that. Let's also add 100. How about like 200? Okay. I'm going to also add a mystery product, which is just the mystery product here. I'm going to now take I don't know, 105 for example. Okay. I'm also going to take I want to take about 120 of our mystery product. So now what you can do is we can also restock our mystery products as well. And maybe if you want to, let's see if I can restock our apple juice as well by like 400. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. Okay. So I'm gonna run the printing now. Oh, whoops, I forgot. Another thing you want to do is you want to run. Can I right click on this? Okay, hang on. Let's see if I can like run something here. I'm going to run. I'm going to set. I'm gonna set the name. I'm gonna set the main project. That's the main project though. Hang on. How am I supposed to run this project now? You know, I'm just gonna click on run and click on run file. There you go. 105 products named apple juice are taken, and then 100 are taken. Notice that we only take 100, not 120, and then we ran out of stock. And then we're gonna restore these, and then we can do it again. Okay? Yep, that's about it. I'm going to you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to I'm not gonna care about this for now. I will like figure out how to like set the package to run. But honestly, what you can do is just right click on the file and click on run file if you don't want to deal with the hassle of like setting the main file. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So that is our product exercise taken care of. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, make sure you DM me as well. Mine is CStarGamer, hashtag 1526. So yeah, that's it for everybody, and I hope everyone will have a wonderful day. Have a nice day.